Retirement is a backwards institution. Like the idea that you should suffer in your youth so that at a shitty job so that when you get older you can take the time off. That's a concept that we live by.
The first Matrix was designed to be a perfect human world where none suffered, where everyone would be happy. It was a disaster. No one would accept the program. Entire crops were lost. Some believed that we lacked the programming language to describe your perfect world, but I believe that as a species, human beings define their reality through misery and suffering. So the perfect world was a dream that your primitive cerebrum kept trying to wake up from.
Before I got into this YouTube sphere, if you will, universe, I don't know. I didn't want to do it. I was terrified of the comment section. Now I find the comic section kind of the best thing. It's very funny. It's but even more so, they kind of prove my point in my videos. Like the negative comments, which is I know what you're thinking. It's like, well, that's convenient, but no, it's true. It's the the comments I get hit one of three ways. It's always one of three ways. It's like the first one is it's the aesthetic manager. Like it's those comments where it's like, "Oh, you talk weird," or "You don't know how to edit," or "Great talk but tediously disjointed." This one was good. That was a good one. He did a couple of videos of mine and pointed out how what I need to do and how I need to do. You need a script or notes or something, and I it was just when I first read it, it irritated me. Like it was like, and then it slowly became like, oh, the repetition of this. Anyway, any comment that's like, it's not about the argument. It's about the aesthetics around it, and it needs to be retouched. That is one type of the comment. The second type of comment is this solution gatekeeper, which is very interesting in itself. It's very Mark Fisher in that. I mean, it's all kind of Mark Fisher at capitalist realism, but the gatekeeper, um, he manages the system by only allowing you to critique the system through the system. Right, like that the floor of the system is the critique. That's as far as you can go. It's like the guy was like, criticism without alternatives isn't helpful, or if you're going to critique this thing, you should have some answers or possibilities. uh I would like to see, or I have them written down. I'd love to see a discussion on what actually fixes this. Right, there's no, in a way, no imagination. There's no outside of the thing we live in, right? The retirement guy who's just basically like, well, this is how retirement works, and if we didn't do it this way, the whole thing would fall apart. And in itself, it presupposes that this system that we're in is just natural. It's a natural occurring thing. Retirement is naturally occurring, and if we don't do it, what other alternatives? Tell me, right? So, stop dreaming. And then the third one is the defensive wall. Like that's a weird one. I've had that with people who will come up to me like in conversations with someone else about racial profiling with the cops, and they'll come out of nowhere and just basically debunk the thing based off of their own experience. Like right, they don't have any information, they don't know my situation, but they're defending the police. They're like, well, I've dealt with the police, I've dealt with profiling, so it can't be racist because I'm white. It's a weird flex, because it kind of points out the the way racism actually is supposed to work, right? Like it's a division. We both have in common is that we're being profiled, but the problem isn't the profiling in the police. It's the way I pointed to racism in the system, right? A benefit. Or this happens to everyone, not just, insert group. You need more evidence before making an accusation is another one. There's a lot of that kind of stuff. It's a way to police a critique of the system. And they all kind of do the same function, right? It's just to protect their identity in their ideological identity within the system, which is very Matrix to me. It's very Agent Smith. It is very like this, you remember in the Matrix how he pops up and he takes over someone's body. It's a perfect metaphor of ideologically driven comment section or anywhere. I mean, I'm using the comment section as because we're here. Um the problem is that the comment section's framed as like a debate, like it's like a place where like people with great ideas come together and they just, hash it out. But really, it hides the the actuality, the reality of that it's ideologically driven. There's no conversation. These aren't people who are debating my thing. They're stopping me from talking about it. I mean, they're not going to, but that's the goal. There's never none of these negative comments. And don't get me wrong, there's positive comments too. There's a lot of people who share their experiences or things they've read, and those are great. It's the ones where it's just shut me down, negative ones. It's weird as that is. The negative ones are always these people that need to shut down the argument without having it, right? It's like my spelling. Oh, you said this wrong, or you didn't do this, or you should really you look at this. I've even been called idiot, moron. I've had a guy recently call me a moron. The Epstein class is the last video I put out about the Epstein class and how that is just a distraction. It's Baudrillard's Disneyland, and I'm talking about how in the news in on the news they'll do these things, these pieces at the end where they do these news pieces at the end where it's like these personal stories where like a woman has to walk to work every day because the buses only go so far and it's like 6 hour trip or whatever, and then the boss buys her a car and everyone's like, oh, what a nice boss. And it's like, my thing was, why are we allowing people to be poor? Why don't we have proper services? Blah, 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 blah. And so if you're ideologically attached, if your identity is attached to the system, right? You believe in that ideology, you are going to defend it reflexively, right? It's so you'll get people like, well, I just don't watch the news. Maybe you're stupid. That's what he called me. I mean, abbreviating, but I'll put it up here. But I just don't watch the news. Maybe you're dumb, and it's like, well, that doesn't stop the function. Like the process still happens. It's like people who opt out of I don't know, I'm not going to buy from Amazon anymore. The odds are you are still buying from Amazon. Right? It doesn't stop the process. And I'm not saying the person's wrong or right. I'm just saying we're all in this. And that's the point of the video, is that we're all in this. I'm not outside of it. I'm not bigger than it. So whether I watch the news or not, the process still happens. I'm still participating in the system. And they didn't understand what I'm talking about. And it's not, I don't think these people are stupid. I don't think these are dumb. I think it's just, this is a language outside of the binary of, left and right or woke and non-woke. Like, it's outside of that binary. Like, I do a joke about recycling, which I think I talked about recently, and I've had people call me right wing because critiquing recycling as a personal, endeavor is has to fit into that binary, into the argument. And the argument is the right doesn't recycle and the left does, I guess, right? Like, that's, environmentalism. But saying, what if recycling personally is not a solution, that we need to change the entire apparatus, the entire system, that becomes, how do I sort that? And this is the double-edged sword with the park bitch ontology. I want to do this, but I also realize that the comments or the low viewers or how hard it is to build an audience for this is also part of the package. I'm excelling when TikTok bans one of my videos. And it's a bitter pill for me to swallow because I also want to eat food. So last weekend I was at my parents and my parents have had trouble with vandalism. They have cameras and stuff, but the cameras sometimes get down. It's old people sometimes. Technology doesn't work. And so a couple of their statues in their yard had spray paint or some sort of black mark on it, and my mom asked me to clean it and spray it. So I took it into the garage and I sanded it down, and then I took it outside on the driveway to hose down. When I brought it back in and put it down, I tapped it and it snapped in half. Later, I told my mom what happened and I explained how it wasn't a lot of force, but it snapped. So structurally, it was probably weak, I figured. My mom was like, well, it's probably the vandals, the vandalism people. I hate saying the word vandals. It makes, I don't know if that's the right word, but the vandals. And I was like, "Well, I don't think so. I hit it and it was probably just weak." And she's like, "No, they could have scored it." And I was just like denying the whole thing. Like, "No, it couldn't be. Why would someone do this? Why would they spray paint, do something reckless and then just wait for you to pick it up so it snaps?" And I was going through this whole thing and my mom was like getting upset with me visibly. Like, because I was denying her experience. And then I get home and it's give it a day or two, and I'm like, I'm doing the same thing as the comments section. I ran my own program on my mother without even thinking about it. I needed to understand this thing. Like I might be still right with the statue. Like it might be possibly that I'm right, but being right isn't the point.